following podcast is being brought to you by the Defy Life Podcast Network.
This week on the Defy Life Podcast, the guys discuss high school football fans spitting on players, their ideal GPS voice, NFL Week 13, heavyweight boxing, and as always, they wrap things up with some trivia. All that and more. Let's get it.
Yeah, that's what it is. I guess we gotta do it then. You alright? Chill, pool, out, money, West Coast. Let's get it. Strap in, let's take a ride. Oh yeah, it's about that time, right? Been waiting all week to get to this. It's finally time to defy life. Let's chop it up, keep it trail, no other way. That's what we do. We might disagree, but it's all love. Guarantee we gon' speak the truth. Yeah, this hit different. My guys with me, now who's with us? Stick around for a few minutes. It's contagious. You'll get it. You downloaded the realest. Don't feel us, forget out. You not rocking with Defy Life, then what's your life about? This ain't Defy Life. Told you. On to the shy line. I'm gonna let this ride out though. This is Defy Life. This is Defy Life. Welcome back to the Defy Life Podcast, powered by the Defy Life Podcast Network. Check us out at defylifepods.com and all other podcast platforms. As always, we ask that you hit the like button, subscribe, and give us a 5-star rating whenever you listen. You can also find us on all social media platforms at Go Defy Life. This episode is sponsored by Bud Bottles, home of the Bud Bottle and the Bud Freshener. Please visit budbottles.com for your odor eliminating needs. This is episode 135, ladies and gentlemen. Come on in, wipe your feet, close the door behind you. I'm your host, J.R. Glenf, joined as always by my wonderful co-host, Alvin Glenf, Keyonne Small. What's good, Al?
Man, I'm doing all right for after Thanksgiving. You know, just enjoying the holiday season. Definitely feeling the Christmas music. It just kind of, although, I mean, damn, they started playing Christmas music, feels like a month ago. So yeah, I'm not really getting used to it.
Every year.
Right. I'm not getting used to that. But when my body clock kind of kicks in and when it's ready for Christmas music, then I'm ready for Christmas music. And usually my body kicks in after Thanksgiving. That's when I'm like, all right, I can start listening to Christmas music and appreciating it. So, you know, it's good. I definitely always enjoy the holidays. You know, just for seeing family and fellowshipping and all of that. So just a good time of the year.
Yeah, man. How you know, I'm good, man. You know, Christmas season don't officially start for me until I hear "In My Mind." Then I know it's time for Christmas.
Then it's all right.
All right. When I hear the Temptations.
Yes, sir.
But yeah, man. Everything's good, man. Keyonne, what's good, baby?
That's good, man. It's been I've been researching high and low the past few weeks for people killed but with football helmets. I haven't found anyone yet, so I'm keep looking, and then, as soon as I find one, I'll let you know.
You know why? Because there's only been one dumb motherfucker stupid enough to hit somebody in the head during the fucking game. But you know,
I'm still looking though. I'll still find somebody. I'm trying to find somebody.
Yeah, but you know, search Daryl Stingley and see how bad, and Lynn Dawson. See how bad, not Lynn Dawson, Frank, what's the dude who used to play for the Giants, Al, quarterback? Frank Gifford. Search Frank Gifford, Lynn Dawson, Daryl Stingley. Search those names and see how bad helmet-to-helmet collisions can hurt you. Search Ryan Shazier if you don't.
Move the goalposts on me, but okay.
And again, just for the record, I know we didn't talk last week, so it's been 2 weeks. I don't want you to sneak some fugazi bullshit in there.
Because he like
they just did.
Nobody said he almost killed Mason Rudolph.
Exactly.
Ain't nobody said that.
But we moving the goalpost though.
Was we said he could have killed him.
Could have.
could have. Ain't nobody say he almost killed him.
Right.
Just for the record, like I think that's a big distinction.
It is, but only Keyonne don't move goalposts. He just everything he say is gospel.
Could have. Okay.
That's all we said.
So I'm
could
wasting
have.
my time looking for, okay.
But hey, you spend your 2 weeks the way you want to spend your 2 weeks. I ain't mad at you.
So now that we know what you did for Thanksgiving, welcome back. We did miss all our listeners. I missed you guys. We took last week off, not intentionally. Life happened, and we took a week off. We asked Keyonne and Pooh. Me and Al had some stuff going on in the family. We asked Keyonne and Pooh if they wanted to just do a show and rock out with y'all. They said, fuck y'all, and they was going to wait for us to get back and do it. So,
I think they said our listeners wouldn't want to hear 2 hours talking about the Falcons and the Bears. I think that's what I heard.
Yeah. Or listening to Keon's keyboard click, searching for helmet deaths.
Y'all got me all coming at me all directions. They don't have internet in my town. So, South Carolina, small town. They don't have internet there. Not good internet.
Bedrock?
Huh? I'm like, damn, they ain't got internet. Internet.
They don't have good internet. Not where I was at. Cell phones don't work. Good luck.
With the quality of the show containing Falcons and Bears talk, or Bulls talk, or Hawks talk, it's probably going to match the quality of that internet.
I'm gonna let you have it because we're gonna get them next year, man.
Who are we talking about?
All three.
Okay.
Falcons, Hawks. I don't know who the other team you said. Bears. I don't know about the Bears.
Bears and the Bulls. Those Pooh's teams.
I don't know.
So,
about
how big of a town is it?
Oh man, it might have grown, but literally when people joke and say like 3 stoplights, I think we're like 2.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's one of them towns.
Yeah. That's a fact.
Walmart?
Oh, of course. Walmart's everywhere.
No, I'm saying,
y'all big living in.
Right. But it closes at 11 o'clock.
Oh, okay. Super. The old school Walmart.
Yeah.
Right. You sure that's a real Walmart? Or that's like a Walmart with 3 T's at the end?
Yeah. It's Walmart. like country folks.
Right.
Walmart.
They won't notice.
Right. Oh man, well, it's good to be back, man. Ate good, drank good, got to see family. Hope everybody did the same. Now we do this for a few more weeks, and we can do it all over again because Christmas will be here before you know it. So, as I said, Pooh will be joining us a little late. So, funny story. I called Pooh about a couple hours ago, and he was like, "Man, I'm on the way to go pick up my wife from work." And I'm literally like, I can throw a rock and hit her job. And somebody had an accident in front of him. They shut down the street and won't let him, and turning everybody around. So that was like at 6 o'clock. He just texted and said, I just got home at 9:30.
Wow.
He had to go all the way back around the city and got off on the exit, and they had that shit shut down too. So he'll be joining us in a little bit.
Damn.
So, yeah. Nothing crazy. So we'll talk to Pooh in a bit. Before we get too deep in the show, just a little bit of house cleaning before we do. Thank everybody for going out and supporting the Defy Life Gear Black Friday through Cyber Monday event. Everybody that went out and got your gear at a discounted rate for the Black Friday through Cyber Monday. Appreciate it. Enjoy your gear. Your stuff is some of you might have already gotten it. The others will be shipping out this week. So appreciate everybody for supporting. And also go out and check out the. So I'm sure everybody saw Freddie Kitchens and his Pittsburgh Started It tea, and Keyonne and Jay Lamont with the whole Pittsburgh Started It shit. So now. On Defy Life, go on DefyLifeGear.com. We have a Pittsburgh Finished It tee. So go out and get one.
Wow.
It'll be out there for a limited time.
They got hit with a helmet. That's
just over. What do you mean?
That's whack.
So you want cover? So you really expecting dudes to come out on the field and fight every time they play?
Dude get his ass, but you talking about finished it? Nah, bro. You can't. Nah.
Okay.
I can't co-sign that one.
Nah, okay, I get it. Like, I know I say this jokingly all the time, but this is the points that I can tell you never really played football, right?
What does that have to do with?
Because I'm about to
ask what we say.
Right.
Finished it. Who
That
finished
shit,
it?
right. So I'm
So
about to
crying
explain
to the ref.
you.
That's finishing it.
You let me know when you finish, and I'll tell you what I mean.
That was the question. Does crying to the ref count as finishing? If it does, then okay, I understand. I understand where you're coming from.
I wasn't talking about crying to the ref. We already talked about that. What I was talking about was the fact that you beat them on the field and eliminated them from the playoffs, essentially. That's how you finish it.
You talking about, I was talking about the actual fight. You talking about?
No, I'm talking about the actual. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
These are the points where I could tell nigga you was in the crowd trying to fight niggas and you wasn't playing. You wasn't playing. That's what I'm talking about. You just proving my point right now. So that's what I'm saying. Yeah, Pittsburgh finished it. Especially
I say
when you're ahead. No, because Pittsburgh's in the playoff race and they eliminated you from the playoffs.
Okay. Well, I give you that. So I'm not a hater. I give you that. Okay.
Right.
I mean, that is why they out there, right?
Right. So, I mean, if you want to just show up and fight every week, then what's the point of playing football? I mean,
I don't know.
But yeah, so no, but that's what I'm saying. In all seriousness, like, yeah, that's how you finish it. You finish it on the field. Like, what can Cleveland say at this point?
Go ahead.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I was serious when I said these are the points where I could tell like team sports is not in your history because there's a bigger picture.
I played baseball. I was quite.
That's
good
not a
at
team.
baseball.
That's not a sport. First of all,
Damn, come on, man.
Secondly,
Disrespect.
it's definitely not a team sport. What I'm saying.
White teammates. I was the only black dude on the team.
Exactly. That's why it's not a sport.
Damn, where did you play in Iowa?
In Bedrock,
South
the
Carolina.
same place with no internet.
Dang, they ain't got black people either?
Nah, that's not true. The
They ain't got
county,
internet.
The blackest
They
county
ain't got
in
Starbucks. They
blackest
don't got
county in
4
the state.
stoplights,
One of the
and they ain't got black people.
Nah, one of the blackest counties in the state. This didn't play football. I mean, they didn't play baseball.
And apparently they don't have football helmets because Keyonne don't know how they work. So
that was a miscommunication.
but yeah,
I see where you're coming from now.
But anyway, everybody go get your Pittsburgh finished it T or your Stop Crying to the Refs t-shirt if Keyonne got any say in it.
I like that.
So I didn't get something. But yeah. But first off, speaking of high school football, I want to talk about this really quick. So did y'all see the high school in Detroit that was in the playoffs and one of the school's players took a knee for the anthem? And, of course, mostly, if not all, black players. And parents from the opposing team, of course, saw a bunch of white dudes throwing stuff at the players, spitting at them, of course, hurling racial slurs. That's what they do. And the players reacted, and, of course, everybody ran off and called the police. Did y'all see that?
Yeah, I saw it when you sent the article. I hadn't seen it before that.
Right. So, yeah. But I don't even want to, and I also mentioned this. This is, and of course, did y'all see the video today of the dude, the UPS driver delivering in Atlanta, who had his cart, his box cart delivering around the neighborhood. You know how they park and walk around the neighborhood, deliver the boxes? And a lady comes out, starts following him and delivering and following him and recording him and calls the cops because she says she's felt threatened because he's walking around the neighborhood and he looks suspicious with his UPS outfit on, delivering boxes.
Wow.
Then she goes in, call the cops, and then his, I guess, this time of season they have 2 drivers per truck. They have the full-time driver and then they hire an assistant. So I guess the other driver came out, who's a white dude, and explained it to the white lady, and she was like, "Well, I'm sorry, I already called the cops." So more of that shit going on. And I say both of these stories together, just to ask, are motherfuckers really this stupid? How long can this shit continue? And really, is it really gonna take people calling the cops for no reason, or when they are the reason that the shit got out of hand, like when they should they get charged for those reasons? I don't get it. Al, what's your take on all this crazy shit?
My take on it is, considering the makeup and history of our country, considering how many people are in this country, like, and considering that the racist people in our country tend to have babies, tend to raise their kids with similar mindsets. Like, I don't expect to ever see a day, me personally, where things like this don't happen. And what I think is happening, though, is that because of technology, social media, and a consciousness in our country to like point things out when they're wrong, try to change it.
Yeah,
I think people are being more exposed to these things on a consistent basis, which for those of us who have been around this planet for a while and have experienced it their whole life because they look a certain way, it's either not new or like more of a desensitized to it type thing, you know, because it's kind of like, man, I'm be 50 in May. You know how many times I heard about stories of white people calling black people nigger?
Right.
Since, like, literally, since I was a little boy. Mm-hmm. Literally, all my life, I've heard these stories. And not just heard them like, you know, their fantasy, but people sharing experiences or happening to me. Right. So I'm not surprised. I'm not shocked. Can't even say I'm particularly outraged to go to the desensitization thing. Right. It's just kind of like, here we go again. And I just feel like, you know, when things like that happen, they need to be held accountable, whether it's through legal means, through exposing, you know, I'm just like, you know, let people know these are the people who think like that. And this is what we do to people as a society who think like that, because most of us, hopefully, I'm saying this real hopefully when I make this next sentence, hopefully, most of us in this country don't think like that. Right. And I think the more those of us who don't think like that, like, acknowledge it and not condone it and point it out, the better. Because I think it empowers and it allows other people to change. But you know, it's just kind of jacked up. You know, it's just here we go again. I mean, every time we you know, what show we up to? 130,
135.
135. Probably 50 of those shows have been have had something involving us talking about an incident like this. Right. Real talk. And that's a lot.
Yeah.
I'm trying to be conservative.
Right. So Keyonne, like,
and most of them have, you know, here's my last story. Mm-hmm. Most of them happen in Florida. So the fact that it's not in Florida or Texas just shows you that they don't have a monopoly. It's not just the South. It ain't just the Cowboys in Texas. Mm-hmm. We talking Midwest here, and you know, some other time we might hear California. I mean, it's who our country is, man. Yeah. It's just unfortunate, but it's who our country is.
Yeah, I mean, the lady was in Atlanta, so yeah. Mm-hmm. I don't know, Keyonne, you think those people that call the cops for no reason, you think they should get charged or fined for wasting cops' time?
Yeah, I think I think so, but I think the community, that's touchy. I'll just believe in democracy, I guess, in this. If the community comes together and feel like that's the way to go, then yeah, sure. But it's just like, damn it, man. So I say that, and then so think about that time when you think you see something and you don't say nothing, and it's end up being something. Somebody getting kidnapped or somebody, like some real situation. You know what I mean? It's like, it seems these situations like this seems to make the news first. But how many times, you know, do like real criminals get busted because somebody thought they saw something? You know what I mean? I'll be glad to have nosy neighbors when I'm not home. You know what I mean? If they thought they saw somebody in my house or whatever, you know, if someone was breaking in, you know, so it's.
But I think there's a difference in like that situation, like a nosy neighbor, or you think you saw something, versus you blatantly saying, "Hey, the UPS man looks sketchy," or this little girl is selling waters without a permit.
Yeah, of course. But that's what I'm saying. Those items hit the news and they're really salacious. Mm-hmm. But then how often are they happening? Like, you know what I mean? Like, how many times? I think I'm kind of going back with Al to say, like, most people, I think most times, most interactions are good. And these items seems to, like, they great to talk about, but I don't know how much they're happening. You know what I mean? We have a problem with race that we've never dealt with. We all acknowledge that. Right. You know what I mean? But I don't really know what we can do about it other than we can go to a whole nother topic on this. Like, the problem I got with it is, like, black people are not, like, financially strong or whatever. It's like, you can call me whatever you want to call me. You know what I mean? But if I got my own situation together, my money's right, it doesn't matter. It's like when you have power over me, you know what I mean? Then it kind of like a name that you're calling me, a bad name, hurts a lot more. It means a lot more. Like I'm fighting for dignity because I don't got nothing else. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that's, that's kind of the situation we're all seeing right now.
And that leads into another conversation of shit. Think about all the, the like exclusively black established communities we've had in the history of this country. They've all been burned down and massacred.
Damn, bro. I mean, I live in Atlanta, man. I don't know, man.
I mean, but even now, it's not a straight lynching, burning down, and massacre. But there's still redlining. There's still gentrification. There's still ways to eradicate strong black communities, and it's happening.
Yeah.
I mean,
right.
I think y'all both are right.
Yeah.
In that the communities and the wealth and the resources do exist in African Americans and people of color in this country. Mm-hmm. And there is also systematic and systemic barriers to people utilizing those resources to our collective benefit. You know what I mean? Like, we have them, but there's also people trying to work against us to come together. It ain't easy.
Yeah.
But like when I hear numbers like African Americans in our country have an annual purchase power of $3 trillion.
Right.
When I hear that number, like as a community, we have access to that amount of money. We spend that amount of money every year. That makes me think we need to make better choices.
Potential, the potential's there.
Right. We need to make better choices.
Right. And we need to make better choices, not only how we spend our money, but where we spend our money.
Correct. That's exactly what I mean. Mm-hmm. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Not even exactly where, because if we were circulate, like we could have whatever we wanted with $3 trillion. It might take 2 years, because multiply that. Right. 5 years is $15 trillion we would have had to utilize as a community. That's a lot of damn money to spend in 5 years.
I don't want to talk pie in the sky, but we like we had a conversation before about the black colleges and how what if remember the documentary we talked about? I shouldn't say this on the air. But like when things change, like we got the potential, but I don't know. I mean, I don't even know what to say about it. It's just how to concentrating or whatnot. But let me say this last thing. I think that circling back to the original point, you wouldn't have like people getting spit on at football games because we would be in the stands and we would be the teams. Like it would be in our own community kind of thing. You wouldn't have police calling, the UPS driver because we would be controlled. You know what I mean? But I don't even know if that's even possible. Like I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So
I don't know if it might not be probable, but I think it's possible.
Probably.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I wouldn't bet on it. Based
Elijah,
on the history in this, what has happened, in my lifetime, I wouldn't put money on it.
Elijah Muhammad was talking about this 80 years ago, like all black people should move to like a state, you know what I mean, and control, work within the democracy, But I mean, come on,
that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, but
it hasn't happened in 80 years either.
Yeah,
right. And two things. One, like I always say this, like a person is smart, people are stupid as hell. And so, like, when you get a group of people to try to get everybody to like come together and do, like, things get crazy, goes left, nobody can agree on anything, everybody, so that shit happens. And then also, as far as our, like, where and how we spend our money, Keyonne said this a long time ago. A lot of us have the mindset of the white man's ice is colder. So, they'll bypass a black business and on purpose. So until we get, out of that mindset that it's somehow a detriment to ourselves to support minority businesses, and to not think that just because it's a black business, they owe us something because I'm shopping there. Like I deserve a hookup, I deserve a discount, or I deserve your prices to be lower because I'm supporting your business.
Because the reality is it's probably going to cost more.
Right.
It's probably going to, be, what's the word? It's not going to be easy, convenient. I might have to go out of my way to shop at this place. It's going to convenient. It's not going to be convenient.
Right.
There's going to be some sacrifices that are going to have to be made. But to me, long term, it's worth it. And I think when you talk about, like, while it's pie in the sky, and it's one of them things, like, again, I wouldn't bet on it happening. But when you talk, I think it's worth talking about potential. And, like, even when we talk about athletes, like, whether somebody meets their potential or not, or a team meets their potential or not, I think it's worthy to acknowledge that, like, that's a real talented dude right there. If he ever gets it together, like, and maybe he won't. Maybe as black folk, we'll be Darius Miles. For all those who remember Darius Miles.
I know him, but I don't know where it's coming from.
My point is that he was an extremely talented 18-year-old, 19-year-old, 20-year-old. Like, where when I looked at him, I would be like, if he put that time in the gym and worked on a jump shot, if he was able to get better vision on the court, if he, if you just thought, like, if that, considering his physical ability, what he had potential-wise, he could have been a lot greater than who he was as an athlete, even though he played for a while. I mean, he played in the league. I ain't hating, he was there.
He was there.
But, and I guess to bring it home, Key, as when I hear that number $3 trillion, and when to Jay's point, when I come to meet so many great people as individuals and how smart individuals are, and the black people are talented, and then you look at us as a collective, and like I said, we need to make better choices, and we'd have better outcomes. That's it.
Yeah, absolutely. And but it's, and I definitely feel you, Keyonne, on that these stories do get a lot more shine and documentation than when something actually goes as supposed to. But I don't think there's anything wrong with saying, you blatantly wasting police officers' time because really you say you feel threatened by this little girl selling water. I don't think there's anything wrong with cops being able to find people for doing that.
Don't they do that in other instances?
I think in
if you take people
states.
on car chases, or
right,
I feel like there are cases where I've heard where not only are you getting the time for whatever act you had, but they're like, considering we had to send the fire department to put they charge
resources, exactly, right.
I know they do that for fire alarms, not fire alarms, but
I know it's something.
What you call it?
Fire
the alarms when people come into your house, you know.
The security alarm.
Security alarm. They do. They a lot of places.
Exactly.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. I feel like I just heard it.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think it's
Sandy Springs.
2 states now. No, I know Utah.
I know it was just in the news.
All right, and I know Utah just when a lady just proposed a bill there to have people that make false accusations and call the cops to have them fined. I think it's like a $500 fine, but still a deterrent nonetheless.
Yeah, it's gonna be rough though. That's gonna be rough though.
Yeah, and because all that's gonna happen then is like, same thing with a lot of officers is you can't tell me I didn't fear for my life.
Exactly. Yeah, discretion.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's kind of then it becomes a point of it's kind of like pass interference. Like
Yeah.
Right.
So, I don't know, but
I'm always in favor of the libertarian me comes out. 'Cause I don't trust government in this instance in the way of creating more laws for asshole prosecutors to pick on the people that are the poorest that can't
that
afford
don't have
lawyers.
a voice, right?
Know what I'm saying? But you don't have a voice. But let's say whatever. Let's say this mayor's wife makes a bullshit phone call, right? You ain't gonna prosecute her because she can like really fuck with you, or even some CEO's wife. She got lawyers, but this old lady that has pension or what? Not pension, but Social Security. You would tear her ass up, Kamala Harris, I know it's Al's girlfriend and shit, but you know what I mean? You go after people that can't fight your back.
That's how we doing it.
Well, speak on it. I mean,
that's how we doing it.
Kamala Harris dropped out of the presidential race today.
Yes, she did.
The polarizing Kamala Harris. I'm not a fan. Keyonne's obviously not a fan. Al, you said you liked her. What are the points?
I liked her. I didn't think she. Let me say this. She wasn't my favorite.
Right.
And not that, she wouldn't have got my vote. But I did like her in that, when you listen to her, there was things that I could agree with. But again, I didn't think she was ready. So I would like to see her, spend the next 4 years getting ready or however long it is and try it again. I would like to see her on that stage again. But I'm not surprised because she fell off.
Yeah, you could tell 5 minutes to listen to somebody talk. I can, whether they stand for anything or not, or they just want to sit in a seat. You know what I mean? And that describes.
I hear that. Yeah,
you don't stand for anything. You get asked a question.
Oh, that's why you said she was Hillary.
100% Hillary.
I got it now. I didn't get that. I didn't get that. I get you now.
She wants to sit in that seat, so she's saying anything. So, and then you check her track record; it'll be all over the place.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because you don't really stand for anything. You just trying to do what is feasible. What's this politically?
Right.
Whatever at the time.
Go along to get along.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then when the winds shift, then those positions you had look real bad when they look really good at the time you were doing it. You know what I mean? And then you sit there, can't explain yourself. So, those people like that are disgusting. But they actually make up probably, 9 out of 10 of the people running for president.
I was just about to say, but that's damn near all the politicians.
That's what I was about to say. Yeah, that's not unique to her. But that's probably why I don't like none of them motherfuckers.
But those people tend to stand out, and I agree.
Right.
I do. When you come across somebody who's authentic, like you tend to give them respect just for that. Like I might not agree with what you say all the time, but at least I feel like you stand for something, and I do like them as well.
That's why Trump is in the White House right now, because he really stood for something. He's but
see, that's
an evil man.
Even if he didn't believe a lot of it, he stood on
something.
Yeah.
Right.
You asked him a question.
He was stubborn with it.
Right.
When he picked his course, he stayed with it.
Yeah.
But I don't really think a lot of it was him though. I think he just saw what would take to. He said what it took to win, and he just stayed with that. He's not moving me from it.
Right, but I think that's something to stand on.
Oh yeah,
is,
I agree.
Like if he pinpointed the fact that if I say this stuff and I cater to this crowd, I'm gonna stay in it regardless of how much backlash I get, regardless of how much I lie and get caught lying. Like regardless, I'm gonna stand my ground and I'm gonna stay in it. He really did stand for that.
To me, like what that did was it two things. It exposed the people of his party for like that y'all really value party over what's really best for the country. Because I really think people voted for him really thinking this guy's an idiot. But he is our candidate. I think so. I think people say he's our candidate, and I'll rather go with us than trust that this Hillary person is going to look out for me. So even though this guy, he's talking about grabbing like people, like all of that was happening before the election. I just truly believe the Republicans, some Republicans, not all of them, many of them were right behind him. I do think some of them was, though. I wish they had another candidate.
Okay.
The other thing is, to me, I'm a big believer that we shouldn't have parties.
Oh, 100%.
Absolutely.
And to me, this is exactly why. Because at the end of the day, just allow people to pick who they want to pick and support who you want to support based on truth and facts, not based on who you need to be an ally to or show allegiance to or be loyal to. Because even as this impeachment stuff is playing out, like the idea that on both sides, everybody sees it the same way. Like, where does that happen at? There's no other place where we could have a conversation and like the people I came with, they all going to agree with me, and the people you came with, they all going to agree with you. No, people should like really listen to the facts and be like, you know what? I see it this way. But as this shit is playing out, you're like, yo, everybody is partisan. And that can't be good for our country. It can't be good for any organization where we all going to see it one way. Nah, man, I ain't put you in office to think like the next guy. You're supposed to be representing me.
Right. Yeah.
The system
bullshit. And it hasn't been good for our country. Like history's shown us that.
Right. And I think parties is the problem.
I love what Jesse Ventura suggested many years ago. He said, take the gang signs off the ballot. So when two people are running, you talking the D and the R. When two people are running, you just have their names. So you go in the ballot box, you see Jimmy Smith and Tom Jones. So you got to decide who to vote for. Because most people, we're the problem. Most people see D, blue, click the D. You see the R, they don't know who the fuck is.
And then you go straight down the ballot.
Exactly. Like, so if you took that off, then it would force people to have to think and have to look into who
I like that. I like that.
Absolutely. So I don't know. I see Pooh's icon. Pooh, you there?
Yeah, man.
What's good, son?
What's good, man? Those guys doing all right?
Nah, yo, so we heard you was over in London dealing with that stabbing. Is that true?
Nah, that's not true at all.
Oh, okay.
That's not true at all.
I gotta Google that.
Oh man. Well,
thought you were saving the world, my brother.
Nah, not this weekend, man.
Not this week.
Nah.
He was touring the world.
Right. 7-8 detours, man.
Yeah.
It was
Muhammad,
bananas.
man.
Bananas getting home, man. Bananas.
Right.
Al is a worldwide news guy. I ain't never heard no stabbing. I'm looking at like Falcons who they fired Quinn yet, and I'm just sitting there. I ain't see this shit. So kudos for being a worldwide information, whatever you call it.
Look, I need to know where people stabbing folk.
Yeah, well,
I mean, was this like a regular stabbing, or what was special about this stabbing?
It was over by the London Bridge. They thought initially it was a terrorist attack, but he might have stabbed like 7-10 people.
Oh, really?
I
didn't see that.
The locals kind of subdued him for a minute, and cops showed up and shot his ass.
Damn.
Which I don't understand, because how do you how are you subdued at one point, and when the cops show up, they just shoot you? Like, what? If the locals can subdue you without killing you, the cops can't. Like, I was like,
Yeah, this guy, he might have earned it though. I don't know.
I mean, maybe he did. I really didn't pay that much attention to it, but it was definitely something that, as I'm listening to it, I walked away like, how the hell did that happen?
Right.
Yeah.
How did that happen?
Well,
I need to see the video on that.
I'm reading through now, but just how London is crazy. Like, we want to take our guns away, but if somebody
Yo, they stabbing people.
Exactly.
Right, they got a stabbing issue out there.
Exactly.
Dang.
Exactly.
But I mean, think about it. He stabbed 7 people. That's probably 20 people shot.
Oh yeah.
So,
I guess, yeah.
And that's like close quarters. Like,
Right.
you really.
I'm gonna put on my Republican hat.
Right.
One person had a gun. It could have ended that real quick.
yeah. But, well, one person did have a gun.
Well, I mean, one other person.
Right.
Another guy.
Right. I don't know, man. But and then with a knife, I mean, like literally, if I'm faster than you, you can't kill me. So, there's an opportunity to
true.
run.
You can't run.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, welcome, Pooh. Man, it's good to have you here. How was your Thanksgiving, man?
Man, my Thanksgiving was wonderful.
And your birthday and all that stuff. Happy birthday.
Man, hey, appreciate it.
Oh
man.
yeah, happy belated, man.
Appreciate it. Appreciate the love, man. It was birthday was great, man. It's always great. Fam, wife, kids. Birthday's great. Thanksgiving great. It's always bittersweet though. My birthday, man.
Right.
It's always bittersweet. Yeah.
Why is that?
My birthday, of course, November 30th, and then my dad died today. Not today, but December 3rd. So every time I, boom, my birthday, and then I'm up with that high, and then I get hit with that low, like, damn, my pops died 3 days later. So.
I actually can relate to that. My father died on my birthday.
Wow.
So that's it's very interesting.
Yeah, wow.
I ain't tripping though. I ain't like
right. But I get it though. It's a jostle now. It's tough. Yeah.
Right.
My father died on his birthday.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Yours is tragic. Like you see, he died in line of duty, right?
Nah, he died at work, just in between jobs.
Oh, I thought your dad was a cop.
Dad
was a cop.
Not my dad. He worked as a court officer.
Okay.
What do you call those guys? The bailiff,
Bailiff.
Right.
Okay.
He was one of them. And then at night worked security. So he was actually asleep in this car in between jobs. And when they went to wake him up, he was dead.
Wow.
I think I see a picture of your dad in a uniform, and I put a story together in my head that he was shot in the line of duty.
Dang,
so I just put
dude.
that together.
Stop calling you Spike Lee. You just coming up with stories. That sounds like a movie.
Okay.
He was in the Air Force, so you might have seen. I posted a picture of it, but
yeah.
Okay.
And you were a little boy?
8.
Oh, damn.
Wow. Wow.
8. On my way to school, I learned.
Wow.
On his birthday, so it was like we was home, like waiting for him to come home, like,
right.
And I'll never forget. Like that was if this was the movie, Keith, the powerful line would be this little boy telling his mother as he goes to school, "I guess I ain't gonna see my dad on my birthday and go to school on his birthday." And then that was the next line I said to my mother when I greeted her, like, "Damn, I really ain't gonna get to see my dad on his birthday."
Wow.
Right.
So that would be the power line. But
right.
Yeah, that shit still hurts.
Right.
Definitely.
Keyonne, how old were you when your dad passed?
Oh shit, it was 2001.
Yeah, I know it was like not super.
Oh, how old?
That was 18 years ago.
I was like, shit, I don't know.
23.
3, something like that. Thank you. 78 plus 3. Yeah, I was 21. I think I was 21.
Okay.
Yeah.
Pooh, how old were you when you died?
I was. What was that, yo? I was 20. I want to say I just became 26, yo.
Yeah,
because
okay.
Yeah, because I graduated. Yeah, I graduated college at 25, and I just, my pop, he was at the graduation, and I came down. He never like took pictures or anything, and when I came down and he greeted me, he was like, "Yo, that felt good hearing my name up there," because we have the same name, but I just always remember that. Yeah, that was pretty dope to me.
Was he sick?
Well, is he sick? Dude, this is crazy because never sick. He was going to the hospital monthly because he had poor circulation in his legs. And so he's going monthly. Then he contracted pneumonia.
Oh, wow.
So I hit him and I was like, "Pop, man, what's going on?" He was like, "Well, I got pneumonia. They said I need to walk, this, that, and the third." So boom, I ran down and saw him. And Keita and I had just got together. So, ran down and saw him. He met her. And came back, boom, and I called him, and it was like November 27th. And I was like, "Dude, man, you got to get in there and walk. I'm not going to let you out until you walk." So he was like, "Well, they want to do a little surgery on the little thing on my stomach to see, just to see what's going on." And he was like, "But the doctor told me, never let anyone operate on it or whatever." So I was like, "Well, I don't know about that, Pop." So I talked to my brother, my oldest brother. He hit me like a day later, and he was like, "Yo, Pooh, they did the surgery, and the results came back." And I was like, "Oh, okay, all right." I was like, "What's going on?" And he was like, "It's cancer." And I was like, "Cancer?" I said, "Cancer?" And he was like, "Yeah, it's lung cancer." I was like, "Lung cancer?" And I was like, "Yo, when they giving him?" And they was like, "Shit, he can die any day." And I was like, "What? How the hell he go from not being detected to can die any day?" So said once we had that conversation, it was like the 29th, and shit, he was out of here.
Damn.
A few days later, yo, and they said lung cancer is the easiest cancer to detect. So
he's looking for it, I guess, right?
But he was going there monthly, but I suppose, and they checking everything with his. I don't know. I don't get it, but I guess you're not supposed to get it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Man.
It's almost like you almost better that way, right? You want to be sick and walk around worried, or
or just fall out, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Like I asked how old y'all were, just because.
Yeah.
And I know, like, there's usually conversations we have around Father's Day, but it came up. So, each of you. So Al, you first. What's one thing that you would want your father to know about you now?
Man.
Wow. That.
Sorry, my interview.
Yeah, right. I think the one thing I'd want my father to know about me is how well his siblings stood up for him to help me be the man that I am right now. And knowing how my father cared about his family. I'm not talking about us. I mean, he cared about us, but he really loved his siblings.
Yeah.
To know, I mean, that's crazy to say, but because he loved us, but he loved his siblings, his brothers, his sisters. He loved them to death. Yeah. To know that they played a role after he died, like really stepped in and was just like, "Yo, we got this." Like, I think that would be the one thing. If I had one thing to let him know, that was what I'd share.
Yeah, that's powerful. Like, to hear my father and the rest of his siblings talk about your father, just how much they revere him.
Yeah.
Like, that was, it's always powerful to hear them talk about him. And
especially for me not to have known him.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's amazing almost. Like, I'll never forget your father putting him in the same sentence as Muhammad Ali in his life.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like looking at how I look at Muhammad Ali.
Right.
To hear anybody put my father in that same sentence, like, yo, the people that, I was just like, damn, really?
Right.
My dad?
Yeah.
and the greatest?
He could
Are you
fight.
serious?
Well,
And meant that shit.
And he was like, what's crazy is, like, I don't know if he could fight because Keyonne, because every story I've ever told was nobody would ever fight him.
Oh,
like he was
he carried a gun.
Yeah.
He carried a gun.
And Pooh, you know how you had that dream about Tupac a long time ago, and you said like Pac was like 4'9" or some shit in your dream,
Right.
like he was really short. Like every time I hear like my father or my uncles tell a story about Al's pops, he gets smaller and smaller. They always talk about how he's a small dude, but nobody would ever fuck with him, and he just carried himself like nobody would fuck with him. And when he spoke, people listened. And so this week, like last week, when they were talking about him, it was the first thing came up. Man, he won, but so big, and it's like he just gets smaller every year.
That little short fucker,
right?
Short fucker, but we listened,
right?
Like, really?
And even our crazy ass grandfather wouldn't fuck with him. Like it's crazy, but yeah, I don't know. Keyonne, what's one thing you wish your dad knew about you now?
Just wish he could just see me. I think he'll be. No, I know he'd be proud of me. He was proud of me when the thing I'm happy about. I did get a chance to tell him goodbye because he kind of like Pooh in a way, in a sense that find out he got cancer. That story is very similar, but it took him 2 years or maybe even 3 years for it to take him, and it just withered him away. And that was hard watching that.
Right. Very
strong, muscular dude to he couldn't even like walk from here to there. But anyway, shit made me fucking sad. I'm about to damn cry talking about this shit.
Yeah,
but
I'm sorry,
just to see me. Just to see me now. And nothing I could tell him just to see me. I think he'd be proud because it's just crazy. I'd say he was bragging on me when I would come and I was fucking 20. Literally, my mama gave me $20 because we was going to see him. And we was in guys at Benedict. I had no money. And my mama had me 20. My mama said, "A man don't feel like a man unless he has some money in your pocket." She gave me $20. That shit was like $1,000, or $10,000. Right. But anyway, so I was broke and everything. But he would go around, "It's my son" and everything. So just to see me now, that would be. Ain't nothing I can tell you. Ask me what I want to tell him.
Yeah, what would you want him to know about you? I mean,
just to see me now. I guess that's grandkids, and
yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's powerful, man. I remember that whole process. When so I know that's tough. Pooh, what about you? What would you want your dad to know about you?
Man, I'm gonna try to hold it together, man. If I go, just go to commercial. If I pop, but basically, man, I'll just let him know I forgive him, man. Because it's a lot going on. Went through a lot, and I never got to have that conversation with him. So because he knew the things he done, and he knew the things that I witnessed, and I didn't have to, and I didn't feel like this until I was older. But I realized like I didn't have to have the conversation with him and badger him because he knew. And I didn't just get to him and let him know that I forgive him, because like for years after that, for like 9 years straight, I used to go to the grave site on today, and just tell him, I forgive you, man, I forgive you, and shit, and every year I cried. I didn't go. I haven't gone this year though, but I just never, got to have that conversation and let him know I forgive him.
Can I jump back in? Because Pooh said something made me think. My dad did some crazy shit, and I wish I could know what the fuck was he thinking. But like my parents got split up when I was like 11, so I was a little boy, and by the time I become like, start thinking kind of like an adult, he died. So now I'm a man, and I wish I could like just sit down and over a beer. He drank a lot. I get that from him, I guess. Just like, dude, what was you thinking about? Man to man. But that's, I won't never get that opportunity. But that's
right.
it.
Yeah. and I mean, I know that's tough. Like, I asked you one thing. I know it's tough to pick one thing.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Just something popped in my head, man.
Good question.
Yeah, and and considering, like, we talk about this all the time, like, the bond that we've all developed on this show, and how much we respect each other as men, and regardless of, I'm sure we could all tell crazy stories about our fathers, but they, even with that, like, I think with the crazy stories and with the men that they were, it made us. It had a lot to do with the men that we became. So I don't know, man. I have a coworker who just lost his pops, and he was. I had to give him a ride to the car dealership the other day because he was getting his oil changed, and we was just talking. And he also, 4 years ago, he got diagnosed with Parkinson's. And he's like 44. So he got diagnosed with like early onset Parkinson's.
Your coworker diagnosed with Parkinson's.
Right, yeah. So early onset Parkinson's. So, he moves slow. He was just talking. He's like, man, this last 4 years have been crazy, man. I just lost my pops. But he's just talking. He's like, man, that shit leaves a hole in you. He's like, it changes you when you lose a parent. And that like stuck with me. And it's like, we, for most people, we know it's gonna happen, that we're gonna bury our parents. But I don't think anybody's ever prepared for that. So.
Nah, you ain't. And honestly, what I'm learning is, having lost my parents fairly early, both of them. Right. When you bury anybody that you care about,
right,
you different. And that shit hurts every fucking time. Right. Yeah. Parents matter. Parents are major. And for those who've lost kids, they say that's the worst.
Yeah, I can't imagine. Yeah.
They say that kids is the worst. And I have siblings who've lost kids.
Right.
And they have not been the same. It has changed them like no other. One for the better, one not so much. She still hasn't got over that shit.
Right.
But, this shit just hurts every time.
So on December 30th, me and my wife are going to see a lawyer about setting up a will and trust. And I would advise everybody that got little kids, at least.
Me and my wife just had that conversation, like, when was this? 2 days ago.
Gotta do it, bro.
Right.
Because that's the worst crime, to die and not leave. Right. That shit in order. Then you got your family start fighting over that shit.
Right. So a will and life insurance.
Oh, 100%. That's
and let me go even
more
one
than just
further.
Life insurance through your job. Get your own policy.
Yeah, right.
I'm gonna go one further. Will, life insurance, and explicit instructions with what they should do for your body, your service, whatever you want happening. The more explicit you can be, the easier it is.
Yeah.
And I buried an aunt in September, and she left 19 pages of notes. I kid you not. And it's very explicit. This is exactly what I want to happen. And it was, it's hard to say, but it was one of the best funerals I ever seen. And most people who was there were like, that was fucking amazing. And who she was a event planner. Like, this is who she was, an artist like that.
Okay.
So she was like, yo, this is what I want to happen. And her first page on it was basically like, yo, for those who I'm putting in charge, I expect you to do this to the letter. And if anybody has any negative to say, they don't have to be there.
Yeah.
That's what she wrote. And it was like, oh, okay. Yeah, we're going to make this shit happen. We got you. And it was amazing. So that would be my advice.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I skip past life insurance because that sounds like should be like a no-brainer. You would think if you got little kids,
right? Yeah, but you'd be surprised, man. I don't know if anybody, Keyonne, Doug Stewart from the Two Live Stews.
Yeah.
Doug sells life insurance now.
I thought you about to say he died.
No. He so I talk to him occasionally, but he's a life insurance rep now. But yeah, so he it's probably like 2 months before he reached out to me. I had gotten a new policy, and he was checking in. I was like, "Yo, I'm sorry, I just got a policy, but I might hit you up if I want more coverage." So he's like, "Yeah, definitely hit me up. Anybody send them my way." And he was just talking about how so many people, even with little kids, don't have life insurance, and when that time comes, you never know, but when that time does come, how panicked people are because they don't know what they're gonna do, right? And and a lot of them, even a lot of older people don't have life insurance, and of course, the older you get, the harder it is to get, the more expensive it is. Yep. And the families don't. He was like, thank God for GoFundMe, because that's what a lot of people get through that shit is GoFundMe events and raising money, right? Yeah. So Doug, he says it all the time. He's like, man, don't have a GoFundMe funeral, because it's the last thing you want is your family out there begging when you're gone.
It's almost like a double-edged sword. So my twisted mind, on one end, like my father died with nothing. So it was literally trying to raise money to get in, and it had a big family and listening to all these religious people. Oh Lord, it was like $200 a piece, man. He was sitting there, oh my God. So that's one end. So everybody kind of like keeping it calm. But imagine the other hand, if there's money there, I can imagine these same people would be nasty trying to get to.
So I have seen that. I have seen that on my mother's side, where even with a will, like the interpretation of it got nasty. And because people were left off, it got nasty. And then as the person was getting sicker, family members were taking advantage and getting documents changed and signed so that when the person finally died, it was like, oh, wait, how you got in charge? And then once they got in charge, they were real dirty with it. And so, yeah, man, people can get real grimy when people die.
Yeah. I mean, families fall apart over that shit.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. But now we got down this road, but
I think it was a good conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. So I ain't even gonna try to transition into nothing else. I'm just gonna go to a commercial, and we'll be right back. All right.
Welcome to the Anything, Everything, and Nothing podcast with Lynn and Kim. Join us as we discuss the latest in everything from entertainment and current events to the craziness that is our real life.
Let's laugh, let's live, let's talk about it. New episode every Tuesday on the Defy Life Podcast Network. And remember, if you're not defying life, then what are you doing? Lynn and Kim.
Welcome back to the Defy Life Podcast. It's episode 35. I'm your host, J.R. Glenf. With me is Alvin Glenf, Keyonne Small, Thomas Stevens, as always. Yeah, guys, really, really deep conversation. As I said, I didn't want to try to segue into nothing else crazy or sports-wise because it ain't no doing that. But, damn good conversation. I do want to get into our listener question, which is... I'm always appreciative when we get a listener question from a lady, because they always make me think. I ain't calling y'all dudes stupid, but hey, our listener question is from Monica in Memphis, Tennessee. Monica wants to know, Pooh, I'll start with you. If you could choose anyone's voice to be your GPS guide, who would it be?
If I had to could choose any one voice.
Right. And I'm gonna add on to this on Monica's behalf. Remember, you can't switch that shit, so it's all the time. So you can't change it. So if you go with Cardi B, just think about that 11-hour ride you got to take listening to Cardi.
Damn.
So yeah,
Cardi talking like that entire time.
Right.
Well, I mean, I was gonna say Jeezy, but I was like, eventually I'll get tired of being Amp. You know, I was gonna say Pop. You know, but I'll probably have to say. Let me say, what's that girl name? Let me say Alicia Keys, man. I really like that soft,
she got a nice
angelic voice. So let me rock with Alicia.
Okay. All right. Al, what say you? Who's gonna be your GPS guide permanently?
Okay, so Pooh changed my answer real quick.
Get out of here.
My prepared answer was myself, right?
No,
I was
you
like,
say you changed it, yeah.
I think it would be kind of cool just to hear my voice all day because I don't really hear my voice. Like you hear it, but you don't really hear it.
Right.
Like, but I do kind of think it'd be dope to have like a female singer, like not just saying it GPS, like harmonizing with her voice and shit. So like singing the directions would be kind of cool. So and I thought, whose voice do I really love? So that was the first person that came to my mind, although I think I could have came up with somebody else, but I like Chrisette Michelle's voice.
Yeah, she got a nice voice. Yeah.
And so that's kind of who I would like, only if she was singing it though. You'd have to be make love, some shit like that.
All right, Keyonne, what say you? Who's gonna
not
be
even a question?
GPS?
It's Beyonce. Like her accent, accent. I said that shit as soon as I read the question.
Like talking or singing? Talking.
I love that accent and Beyonce. That's what he mean. Yeah.
Keyonne, turn left right here.
Yeah, I love that shit.
That's basically what you heard.
I love it.
Yeah. I bugged off of her on Lion King, dog. I was just like, if I hear this chick one more time, sound like a country Bama trying to talk to Simba. Yeah,
I haven't seen it, but I heard she's not a good actor.
Yeah,
it just don't even.
Yeah, Simba. What about your mother? Yeah.
It's like she read.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, Beyonce. That's interesting.
Fuck that.
All right. Well, yeah, I'm going totally opposite, man. I'm going Morgan Freeman. If anybody can narrate my rides to anywhere, it's got to be the voice of God. The man that played God on like 4 movies. So I'm going Morgan Freeman.
Not bad.
Even if he
hasn't aged.
Right. Yeah, he was old when he was young. You know, so
lean on me.
Yeah, he had a goatee in kindergarten.
So he's probably the most famous person I've ever, him and Maya Angelou, that I've actually been in their presence and actually had a conversation with.
Oh, wow. That's a good question. You know I'm asking the question. So Maya Angelou and Morgan Freeman now. Damn, good one. Keyonne, who's the most famous person you've actually...
And wait, and let me be transparent. Because I ain't saying like I was having breakfast when I'm having a conversation, right? Yeah. I actually said like maybe 1 or 2 sentences to each of those people. Okay. That's about it. Let me be honest.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, you said you were in their presence and you held a conversation. Yeah. All right. Keyonne, who be the most famous person you've engaged with?
It's something I always kick myself. The rest of my life I will. In 2007, I was working at the Columbia Marriott, Columbia, South Carolina. Goddamn Barack Obama walking through the fucking lobby.
Wow.
And nobody was really fucking with him like that. It was just him and Hillary. You know what I mean?
Wow.
And I was he was shaking people's hand, but it wasn't even like yeah, all right.
Yeah.
And then I had
this dude.
But then that shit changed like 10 minutes later.
Mm-hmm.
I walked in front of the I valeted a car, so I walked in front of the lobby. And he walked out, and there was an old bus full of like old white women, and they were there for a totally different thing. Mm-hmm. And they waited and held the bus, and when he walked out, they all started screaming. and I went, like,
this dude.
Something's, yeah. So yeah, but yeah, Obama.
Okay.
Yeah, 07.
All right. Pooh, what about you?
Probably
I know you
Sauce
rub
Money.
elbows with a Sauce
Probably
Money.
Sauce Money. No, I'm bugging. But no, I did meet Sauce.
I
He did
know.
it.
Oh, and Columbia. I know that.
Yeah.
I was like, they done dropped Maya Angelou and Barack. You dropping Sauce on me though?
I'm dropping Sauce Money. Hey, that kid said he murdered the whole month of April. Just mail.
Mail.
Hey, but I probably have to say, I think that kid, what wasn't his name? Al Gore. He was running for he came to Allen as well. He spoke, and I actually shook his hand and said a thing or two. So probably Al Gore, man.
Let me ask you, when Chappelle came, was that last year?
Yeah, I missed it though. Like
that's what I'm asking.
It was under the rug. I didn't get to see it.
Oh, like you didn't even know he was coming.
Dude, I didn't even know.
Oh, okay.
I didn't even know. Even when Bill Clinton came, they shut the campus down. Like everyone had to leave. So he was there, but they kicked us out. So, a few people done came through there, but the only person they actually let us stay there for was Al.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, I met a bunch of athletes, of course. I said probably the most famous person probably be Stephen A. Smith. I actually did have breakfast with him.
Where
at the same table. So when Tanya was still the AD at Winston.
Oh, I forgot. Yeah.
He went to Winston, so he was the keynote speaker at this. So every year they would do this event where like all the ladies wear hats, and then there's one for men. So before both of them, they have a breakfast with a keynote speaker, and he was the speaker, and he was at our table, of course, because she's the AD, she set it up. So it's either Stephen A. Smith or Peyton Manning, I would say. So I go with Stephen A. If we're going most famous. So yeah. That's damn interesting. Good question. Who asked that question? Somebody with an M from Memphis. Monica from Memphis.
Young lady, the young lady.
Damn good question, Monica. And we even gave you a bonus question for it. You're welcome.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Yeah. So I'm going to ask y'all the same question I ask you every week. Al, what do you know from the NFL in Week 13? I'm afraid to hear this.
Well, I know that my MVP candidate, my MVP vote right now is split between Russell and Lamar. That I know. I was giving it to Russell, but I'm slowly being like, the more I look at Lamar, I'm like, this dude deserves right there with Russell. So that's the other thing. I also know the Jets don't know what to do with Le'Veon Bell.
God, no.
He got 10 rushes again last week, and it's like that. To me, is crazy because why y'all not giving this dude the rock? And I know our offensive line sucks, but you got to still let the man touch the ball.
He got what he wanted, though.
Got his money.
He got his money, and what's so crazy? Carries. He ain't complaining.
Right.
He like, he ain't complaining.
I heard a rumor the Steelers were looking at a trade or something, trying to get him back on the roster.
I did hear that too.
Okay.
Yeah, and it was trade deadline. He actually mentioned it in an interview.
Oh, okay.
The Steelers reached out, and then Mike Tomlin quickly shut that shit down. So nobody knows. Ain't like Mike Tomlin would admit it if they did. And it sounds good for Le'Veon to say it, so nobody knows.
Okay.
The other thing I know is that the Bills outplayed the Cowboys on Thanksgiving, and that we still though are in a good position to win our division since Philly lost, and while they got an easy schedule, our schedule ain't all that hard. So if
Don't y'all
just
play
saying
each other?
and we play each other, and we beat them already.
Right.
So we got Philly and the Redskins on our schedule, even though the Redskins just won this weekend. But so that's 2 games that we should be at least favored to win. The other 2 games are Chicago and the Rams ain't been playing all that great. So we'll see.
What about Chicago?
It's been a sorry season. You said what? What about who?
Chicago. Didn't you say y'all play Chicago?
We play Chicago Thursday night.
What you got to
really,
say about them?
we both got the same records. This is like a playoff game.
Right.
They are in a different position than we are because they're behind Minnesota and Green Bay.
Right.
But they know though that if they lose, they out of it.
Right.
So they coming with they coming with the intensity. So it's gonna be a great game.
Yeah, Pooh, they also coming with Mitch Trubisky. What do you know?
Hey, I was just about to say the number one thing you guys have going for y'all is Mitchell Trubisky is playing quarterback for us. But hey, whatever, man. Money making Mitch.
Money making Mitch.
Right. Interception throwing Mitch is what I'm gonna call him. He's played pretty good though the last past 2 weeks. But I want to say I know the Patriots may have peaked too soon.
Don't say it.
They may have peaked too soon, man. I think they peaked too soon, and I'm gonna go with that. The Patriots peaked too soon.
I mean, think about it, like especially on offense, they peak.
Yeah, on offense. That's why I am. Yeah, that's what I mean. That's why I am offense. Yeah,
because it's easy to peak early when you got Josh Gordon and Antonio Brown and
right.
And then you go to Mohamed Sanu as your number 1 receiver. That's easy to peak early that way.
Because the running game hadn't been successful all year. So
no, and which also means the play action hadn't been successful.
Right.
No play action down the seam. The Gronk has not been there, of course. So there's a lot of stuff missing. Yeah, and I would say I don't even know if they ever peaked. Their defense was just playing so damn, and especially they were getting I don't think the offense even got on track yet.
That's true because the offense. I mean, the defense scored like 3 straight games or something like that. Right. Something ridiculous like that. Yeah. So they were playing well.
Yeah. But as I always say, I ain't betting against them.
No,
I ain't gonna do it.
I'm rolling with the Bills, man.
To go to Super Bowl.
To come out of
win the division.
No, to win the division.
Yeah.
Wow.
They just a game behind.
I'm going with the Bills.
But the Bills got a tough schedule though, because the Bills got the
Patriots
again.
Yeah, they
got the Steelers and they got the Ravens.
And Baltimore. Yeah, they got a gauntlet. They got a gauntlet.
Yeah. So, that's gonna be tough. But I mean, Buffalo ain't no slouch though. So no. Allen
is coming of age.
Yeah, he's playing well.
Mm-hmm.
And, Mitch Trubisky. True.
Keyonne, what do you know after week 13?
That Lamar Jackson is the most exciting player in football. I think he's gonna have a short career, but it's gonna be fun. And I still don't know what the Falcons' plans are. I don't know what they're trying to do. That's what I know. I know that I don't know what their goal is, what their purpose is.
Would you fire the coach?
I would fire the coach at this point. I would do like the Panthers just did. I would fire the coach, and if I'm going to fire the general manager, I would do it now too. If I'm not, then I would keep him.
You think he should be fired?
I think he should be. I think at this point, think about like in sports, at least football and basketball, you get probably one time to build your vision.
Mm-hmm.
And once you do it, it's like, if it's not successful, you out of here. And you may not get another job again. You know what I mean? if you've done it 2 or 3 times, 2 or 3 different rotations where you've built teams and then at some point, that's kind of where Dimitrov is at right now. He's had several variations of his vision, and it's like, to be honest, I honestly believe, and see, Al, now I'm about to contradict myself with the question you just asked me. I really believe y'all yell at me, I don't give a fuck. I think this is one of the top 5 teams in the NFC at least,
rosters?
As far as
top
talent.
5 teams in terms of what, salary?
Like
No,
rosters?
fuck all y'all.
No, I'm asking. You mean rosters?
I thought you was being sarcastic. I heard too many questions.
No.
As far as rosters, yes.
Okay.
I do believe this roster is very talented.
I do too.
I would, yeah. I wouldn't disagree with you.
I thought y'all about to attack.
No. I concur.
Okay. So, in that way, I contradict myself about firing Dimitrov because I think he's done it. But then I see they're getting punts blocked again. You know what I mean? That's when we talk about Belichick. You just don't see that with the Patriots, or with better coach
I thought
teams.
top 5 in the NFC was kind of high, but I understand. Like, I get your point though. I do think they have talent on the team, and that would make sense that you might keep Dimitrov.
And I say the same about the Cowboys. They have a very talented roster. But your coaches just suck ass. You know what I mean? So we're in the same boat as far as that goes. But I think our coaching's probably worse. Dirk Cutter, he should never be allowed near football again. Like
why is he still a coordinator, man?
His coaching style does not work.
Right.
It doesn't work in a perfect situation. He just passes the ball all the time. He doesn't. Anyway, I don't know if this is Dan Quinn or is this Thomas Dimitrov. Like, so much of the problems with the Falcons, we don't know who's to blame. They're going to point to Quinn, or is it Dimitrov, or is it both? You know what I'm saying? We don't know. So I go back to my original point. I just don't know what their plan is, and I don't know what they're doing. So that's what I know. I don't know.
I got you. Yeah. And I think another sign with the Falcons, another sign of bad coaching, is that none of those units on that team play well at the same time.
You mean offense and defense?
Right, offense, defense, special.
Yeah.
Even within the same unit, they like when the passing game's going, the running game's not working. Yeah. Like when Matt Ryan's on, Julio ain't getting no. Like nothing's ever in sync. Like I don't know. It's just all over the place.
That's coaching. Like
right. It's a sign of bad coaching.
Yeah. That's good. Quinn has to go. I guess he has to take the fall.
Right. And like when you see players who have proven, like when you say that roster is really good, it is. But when it starts looking like some of those players with all that talent are being hindered by the coaching. Like you see players like, Deion Jones not progressing like you thought he would. Takk McKinley not progressing like he should. With all the promise they showed early, it's a sign of bad coaching.
Like you don't go. Yeah, we agreeing. We agreeing. Like you don't shut the Saints out from the end zone. This is like one of the top offenses in the league at home. I don't give a fuck if people say, "Oh, they had a bye week." If you're a bad team, you don't do that. Right. The fact that they were able to do that the week Dan Quinn stopped calling the plays, should say something. You know what I mean? Anyway, I go on and on about the Falcons, but I just, at the end of the day, if someone at the top high up doesn't make a decision, then it's gonna be the same thing next year. So
only thing I know is Mike Tomlin's coach of the year. If there's any other team in the league that had what he has to deal with, and considering over the last year before the season and during the season with injuries, there's no way that team should be 7-5 and in the playoffs. No way.
I think Jim Harbaugh might have something to say about that, but
I can see people voting.
Absolutely,
for Harbaugh because of the success, but. And I said this a few weeks ago, like, to me, the Steelers are one of the best stories, like, in the NFL, and I think really in sports. Like, I just love shit like that. Like, that's why I coach, to help people understand, like, man, you bigger than fucking circumstances. Right. Fuck that. It ain't over. Keep trying. You can win this damn game. I don't care who on the field. I love shit like that.
And I met John Harbaugh. Jim Harbaugh might be out of a job soon.
Right. I mean,
you're right.
I give John Harbaugh complete credit for and his entire coaching staff for not trying to make Lamar Jackson what he's not, and actually developing a system to take advantage of everything that he is. So, and I ain't saying nobody else is in the conversation, and of course I'm biased. But if John Harbaugh lost Lamar Jackson, they lose every game of the season.
And I see them with their play call, and they setting people up for the okie doke in the playoffs.
Right.
They're gonna run one of these same formations, and they're gonna burn somebody for like 80 yards, like a bomb pass, because they run the same like sweep formation. They're gonna do that, and everybody gonna just pile in on him. He's gonna. So this is gonna be fun when it comes January.
Yeah, and when you say short career for Lamar, what do you mean by short?
Oh my God, bro! I was watching the game, the Rams game, a few weeks ago, and I saw a play. I don't remember the player's name. He was on the defense, obviously, for the Rams. I don't know if he was a safety or linebacker, but Lamar Jackson was like dancing in the backfield, just shifting around. And at the very last minute, he moved, and the linebacker safety like teed off, but missed and hit his own player. And he fell on the ground and was like rolling around. And so what I'm trying to say is a split second later, Lamar Jackson would have got knocked the fuck out. It would have been like a helmet to helmet. So they are. And then the next play I saw, like, they are like trying to tee off on him, but they missing.
Yeah, and another thing that one reason why teams are trying to tee off on him is, and players have actually complained about it, and there's articles written about it, is if you notice, he does this a lot. He fakes like he's going out of bounds, and then comes back in to get more yards. Yeah. Somebody's going to try to kill his ass for doing that.
They trying now. They just can't hit him. But I'm saying over the time,
somebody going to hit him.
He's going to get exact. He's not a big guy. He's not Cam.
Right. Yeah.
So,
So, and and even if that doesn't happen, I'm not like it probably will. But even if that doesn't happen, like, they can't, like, what they're doing is not sustainable as he ages.
Yeah, for the same reason. He's going to get a little slower, and then even I guess you say the regular tackles are gonna
because people like regular dudes are gonna be able to tackle him. Like, he ain't gonna always be able to out-juke everybody and outrun everybody. And then as that goes, the threat of that happening takes everything else away.
Yeah.
So
you could just drop everybody back.
Right.
The crazy thing is, I'm having a conversation in the office today with 5 females, 5 women. And this woman made this point, and I was sitting there like, wow. She was like, we talking about Lamar. She said, so my question is, because at this stage of his career, he does so much running and is so quick to run, will he develop the skill to be able to read the field when he gets older as a quarterback to be an effective quarterback? And I'm sitting here like, damn, you know a lot about football.
Yeah,
like,
that's a good question.
Yeah, and it's a good question.
That's a great question.
But I do think his diagnostic skills are underrated. He's done a very good job of reading. It may not be reading in the traditional sense that we're used to. But I think
when he gets to a point where he has to read to throw instead of read to run or throw.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, that's a whole different type of reading defenses. And that usually comes from experience.
Right.
I've watched like let's say we will go back 6 games, and Lamar's 6 games, and now to me he looks totally different, and I see him going through second and third read. So I definitely see progression. So I mean, is he going to be Peyton? No, not. However, but I still think he's able to diagnose what's going on and get it to the right guys.
Right. Yeah. And you got that much margin for error as far as his athleticism. Like, even when he's 30, I mean, what's a quarterback that can kind of run? Like, Josh Allen ain't like nowhere near the athlete Lamar Jackson is. But I think when Lamar's 30, he can like still move that much and be effective with his legs. So I don't think he'll ever be, barring injury, I don't think he'll ever be, unless he plays till he's 40, but I don't think he'll ever be like,
look at Russell.
A statue.
Russell, I think, is about 30, and he's still pretty.
Right.
See, I think Russell, that's not a good. I don't think they're the same. Like Russell Wilson, I think he always tries to pass. He looks to pass. Like running is kind of like.
No. I wasn't saying that. I was just saying in terms of he does scramble. And
ability to move.
Still a decent scrambler at 30 is all I was just trying to say.
Okay. Lamar looks to run first.
But I was
we'll see.
Yeah, and I've even seen, like Pooh said, over the last few weeks, like there have been opportunities for Lamar to run, and he stayed in the pocket and took some shots while he's passing, and so. It's there, but that's a legit question. Like, can you do that consistently when the threat of you running is no longer there?
It's no longer there, right? I get that. And Lamar says that people really have him twisted. He's a quarterback. He said, I want to throw the ball.
Right.
I want to throw the touchdown. So I just think I don't think we're giving him enough credit for it.
No, I guess what I'm saying, what I'm seeing,
I know what you're saying, though.
It's like guys are they are trying.
They're trying to kill that dude.
Yes, not like regular tackles. They just want. Like, I can't say everybody's doing. I saw it with the Rams, definitely, and I saw it last week.
And I saw the Niners too.
Yeah, like they are trying to like hit a home run, man.
Right. Yeah.
They ain't just trying to get a base hit. They trying to knock his head off.
Right, and it makes sense because, I mean, if you sit there and wait on, it's kind of like tackling Barry Sanders. You sit there and wait on him, he going to make you look stupid. You might as well try to go for the home run. And if I miss, I miss. But if I hit, it's going to land. But, yeah, it's dudes trying to tee off on him.
And I like him. He ain't like a Baker. Baker Mayfield, like, I like him. I like him, so...
And want him to be successful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, shit, we think about it. There's never been a time in this league with the top, arguably the top 5 quarterbacks in the league were black.
Oh, yeah. That's crazy, right?
This is amazing.
Right.
That's for a running back, huh?
And,
right.
like, and these are young quarterbacks.
Yeah, they're going to be here.
Right. Like the Tom Brady, the Breeze, the Aaron Rodgers, their time is on the slow, like they almost out of here.
Yeah, and then you look at, a lot of the names that we went through this a couple weeks ago. A lot of the names we used to throwing out there. Look at just that one class, the famed class of 2004. Roethlisberger's hurt. He may never be the same again. Phillip Rivers is about to be benched. Yeah, Eli's already been benched.
Yeah. Even recently, I don't know if you're going this direct. I'm going like Mariota, RG3. Yeah. It's such a hard position to predict. You know what I mean? Trubisky, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's hard.
There's people second guessing Jared Goff.
Yeah.
People looking at Carson Wentz funny right now.
Yeah. Which I don't think is fair, but yeah.
You don't think it's fair to look at Wentz kind of funny right
now? I'm like, what?
So I wonder. I feel like, and I'm kind of speaking on ignorance in there. Like I've watched the Ravens. I am watching the Eagles, but I know for watching Foles when he was there, they made it real simple for him. And I wonder this question: have they complicated the offense for Wentz? Like based on his ceiling is higher. Why can't they make it simple for him the way they did for Foles? You know what I mean? Yeah. Simpler, like read action, simple plays. You know what I mean? Routes that are 2 read routes. You know what I mean? That's kind of what they did for Foles, and it worked. You know what I mean? Why can't they do that for Wentz?
It did, and I ain't saying you're wrong, but I'll tell you why they're not gonna do it, because you don't do that for franchise quarterbacks. Like, you don't simplify your offense for a guy who's your franchise quarterback. Like, if you can't get it, why am I paying you like a franchise quarterback? Like, if I
won a Super Bowl doing that shit, man.
I ain't saying you're wrong. I'm just saying that's why they're not going to do it.
But we paying you $27 million to do the whole playbook.
Yeah, to throw the playbook at you.
The whole playbook.
That's why.
And
so, do you think it's fair? Do you think the questions are fair for against Wentz? Like
absolutely, because
I think they're
like
fair.
Shit,
I think he's just not. I don't think he's playing as bad as people seem. But I think it's fair to ask because they haven't been successful recently. You know what I mean? So the offense isn't clicking. I think it's fair to look at the quarterback and be like, yo, maybe we picked the wrong one. But when I watch the game, it ain't just him.
No, it's not.
Yes.
But when they winning, he gonna get the credit. So yes, I think it's fair to blame him when he gets when shit ain't going right. That's just, it comes with the territory. And again, I'm not saying you're wrong. Like, I think there's things they could do differently to aid him. But as Al said earlier, your situation does not define you. So those players, you paying a quarterback damn near $30 million a year, like, at some point you got to elevate everything else around you. And he's not doing it.
And he was the quarterback that people, like, when people would talk about Dak and a Carson, they like, well, Carson's that type of quarterback that he gonna put a team on his back.
Right.
Dak ain't that dude. Dak need weapons. Dak need.
The year they won the Super Bowl, I watched him that year, and he looked amazing. And then he got hurt. You know what I mean? So I haven't been watching as much this year, to be honest. So I can't really. But he looked amazing then. I don't know what's changed. And I'm looking at their schedule. It looks like layups. I get the only hard game, maybe the Cowboys. Maybe. You know what I mean?
Oh no, yeah, they got a real easy schedule.
Should be, right? But the Dolphins should have been.
They lost to the Dolphins.
Yeah.
It's like he's not playing with confidence. You know, he's holding the ball. And I guess Al been out for a while. Alshon and that's the speed guy. And but I mean, I can't really say that because when they were out before, he missing guys. They still utilize the tight ends. He was utilizing tight ends and the backs out the backfield. It's just like he's not anticipating the way he used to. You know, it's almost like he's still not comfortable because I watch him and he doesn't look like the same Carson that was in the MVP race. You know, before he tore his ACL, he doesn't look like the same guy.
And that's one thing I always give Foles credit for. Like, I remember when he took over for Vic. And I was like, I was defending Vic. Man, the receivers can't get open. Blah, blah, blah. I was arguing that. Then Vic got hurt. In the same game, Foles comes in, and he's throwing the ball before the receivers get open. Like, you call it anticipation. He's throwing the ball to where you will be open in 2 seconds. I thought that was like, oh, shit, Vic is finished. Like, like career's over now. I see, So anticipation. Pooh, I guess you're saying Carson Wentz does not have that kind of anticipation.
Right now he's not playing with it. He used to, but he's just not playing with that now. It's almost like he's not trusting. He's not seeing it. Like Mitchell, Mitchell doesn't see it. He waits until the guys get open, and you can't do that in the NFL.
You know who's great at that damn? I don't know how great this is, but like Baker Mayfield. I just shitted on him like a few seconds ago, but he throws the ball where it looks like the guy's not open, but have y'all been seeing this shit? Like, he's throwing it to people, the guys look covered, but he throws them open.
Yeah, but he doesn't do it consistently. And that's the issue with Baker is, like, I mean, he was the number 1 overall pick, so he's talented. And so he has those qualities, but the thing that kills me with Baker is when it matters most, he don't do that shit. He throwing wild, he panicking, especially when you hit him early, he gets erratic. But yeah, I see what you're saying. Like, there are times where he throws people open. It's kind of Breeze-like when he's like that kind of anticipation. Yeah.
I always find that fascinating. Watch, like, how can they see that? How do you see?
Right.
Anyway.
Yeah. And I remember thinking, like, back when the Steelers had Cordell Stewart, like, I used to be so, like, why he always got to wait till somebody wide open to throw it to him. Yeah. As opposed to, like, back then, I used to just marvel at how Troy Aikman could, like, throw an out route before Michael Irvin even came out of his break.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's amazing to see.
So,
to where you will be open.
Exactly. And it's right on your chest. So, that stuff is on. And it just goes to show you, people have a tendency to think that football players just show up on Sunday and play. That goes to show you how much repetition is in this.
Yeah.
So,
especially at that position.
Right. Exactly.
And I have to shout out, since we're talking about anticipation, I have to throw out Warren Moon with that.
Oh yeah.
Because he just knew the offense like the back of his hand, and he just threw the ball where he just knew the guy was gonna be, and Kurt Warner. I mean, it was it was beautiful to see him. Right. It's definitely beautiful to see.
And Warren Moon just threw the prettiest ball ever.
No, he did. Yeah. He did. Yeah. He definitely did.
And Lamar Jackson does not. We can all agree on that, right?
It don't look good always, right?
He gets there.
Right.
He said he couldn't throw a spiral until like end of last year.
Crazy.
But it gets there.
Does he have small hands, or he just wasn't used to that pro?
Does he have Trump hands?
I don't know. I know he got a funky delivery. It's kind of almost. It ain't as bad as Phillip Rivers, but
he slings it.
Yeah, it's like but like Vic had a true flick of the wrist, and he threw like lasers. When Lamar has time to like load up, he throws some. He can throw a bullet, but a lot of them are kind of. It's a funky delivery. It just comes out funny. Yeah, but shit's effective.
It's effective.
No, it is definitely effective.
Right. Who they used to say that about? Peyton Manning? It's like, man, I don't give a shit how the ball look. There's a lot of niggas catching it.
Yeah,
because you see some dudes who throw a pretty ball, but it's not a catchable ball. Like it's funny how the ball comes out of people's hands differently. But Lamar's effective. All I know, he can throw that shit with his feet. I don't care.
Yeah.
Y'all had a chance. I know Keyonne did. Did everybody have a chance to watch the Wilder Ortiz fight last week?
I did not.
Damn, y'all missed a fucking treat. Man.
Gears, man. My gears got jammed up, man, and I was done.
Your gears got jammed.
Next time, go ahead and pay the $70 and do the pay-per-view because he is worth it. This is the Mike Tyson of our generation.
Man, that like I was telling Keyonne, and I had to kind of explain it so it could make sense. But fighting Deontay Wilder is like it's like playing golf. You know how like you play golf and like you lose focus for one hole and you can shoot yourself out of the tournament completely. Like Ortiz was winning that fight.
All 6 rounds.
And he lost focus for one split second and got his ass sent to smithereens. Like as Mike Tyson would say, got knocked into Bolivia.
I watched that 7th round on it's on YouTube, y'all. Y'all, it's no excuses now. It's on fucking YouTube.
The fight is on YouTube?
The fight is on YouTube right now.
It is now, yeah.
I've watched the 7th round about 15 times since last Saturday. It's a beautiful thing. Watch the whole fight, but the 7th round is where he ended it. It's a beautiful thing.
Right.
And there's another one coming up this Saturday. Anthony Joshua. This is sort of like a tournament going on. Mm-hmm. And at the end, someone's going to be holding all 3 belts. Anthony Joshua and Andy Ruiz. Have y'all been following that or not really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah.
Second fight?
I remember that fight.
It's going to be a fight this Saturday. Heavyweight. Anthony Joshua and Andy Ruiz. They fight Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
They fought before?
They fought before and Ruiz knocked out Joshua.
Ruiz took Joshua's belt. And I don't know. Like Anthony Joshua was so bad that the first fight, I don't even know. Like some fighters they lose and you be like, yeah, he just had a bad night. Like he was so bad, I don't even know if he can bounce back from that.
Jay, there are rumors that say that he actually got knocked out in sparring leading up to it.
Yes, I heard that.
So his saying that he was not like his father got screaming at the promoter that night. He got saying that he shouldn't have been in the ring that night. He was not right. Like it can take months sometimes like from a concussion, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So this time, I don't know. Maybe.
And and Ruiz ain't no slouch. It ain't like he just hit him with one punch and got lucky. So
he beat his ass.
Right. So it's gonna be interesting. But it's hard to see any of them beating Wilder.
I think Wilder can be beat, but you got to do what Fury did to stay away, like box and just move out. Just like you said,
very few dudes can do that.
Ortiz,
12 rounds.
It was 9 seconds left in the 7th round.
Right.
Like Ortiz, his trainer, even I don't watched all the interviews, but his trainer said that he thinks Ruiz was just like took his mind off to get ready for the next round, like just for like a second, and that was it.
Yeah, and that's all. And that's the thing about Wilder. He knows that about himself. Like, he knows who he is as a fighter, so he never panics. She can go into the 7th, 8th round. He knows that he gonna catch somebody slipping, because most fighters, especially heavyweights, are not built to be patient for 12 rounds. It's just not in their DNA.
And let me say one thing. The arguments came up, debates about the hardest punchers in the history of heavyweight boxing. Teddy Atlas says Deontay Wilder is the hardest hitter he's ever seen. Now, what I want to say to that is, I've never seen a fighter with a signature move that can guarantee you 100% certainty. If he hits you with his right hand, you will fall. 100% certainty. Right. You will fall. You may get up. A couple people have gotten up. Fury got up. Ortiz got up.
And
but
Fury actually didn't get up. That shit was 13 seconds. Well, the ref, but he got up.
Sure.
Okay, let me shut up.
But 100% certainty, that right hand hits you clean, you fall down. Like you say, Tyson could hit. Tyson was hitting people with his. It's like a battle of attrition over time. Those shots would take their toll. But I'm talking.
Tyson had better combination, so he would catch you. He'd go to the body, go to the head, or boom, boom, head. So it was different with Tyson. But yeah, you're right. With just one shot. Yeah,
I can't. I don't know anymore. Like, so.
I mean, George Foreman, I've seen do it, but not like.
Yeah, they say he hit hard.
Jabs, but I mean jabs, right?
And and again, that's what I said. Like with him, it was more like he just wore people down with his heavy hands.
Yes.
Like Wilder he can be losing every round, every second of every round, but all he gotta do is just hit you one time, like you said.
One time. See, that's the thing we gotta try to put into context, try to wrap your brain around. He has one. He's really not a good, he's not a technically sound boxer.
No,
he's all wrong.
Right. Yeah.
So he went 7 rounds without hitting the dude once.
With that right hand.
Right. He's pawing at him now.
He hit his gloves.
Mm-hmm. And he was, he was sizing him up with his left, pawing at him, but he never landed. And when he finally landed, it was over. That's all it takes.
It looked like Ortiz had a seizure. Look at it.
Yeah.
Look at it. His face froze for several seconds. It was frozen.
He had the zombie arms and everything.
And you look at where the punch landed, at the top of his head. It wasn't like you get hit in the ear. That's like a soft hit in the jaw. He punched him in the forehead, dude.
Right. It was straight on, exactly.
That's one of the hardest parts of your head. It's
a lot of dudes break their hands with gloves on from hitting dudes in the forehead. That's how Mayweather broke his hand so much.
But let me say this last thing. It just feels it's sad in a way that more people don't know about Wilder. This is not Mayweather Pacquiao. This is not Tyson versus whoever. Most people don't even know this guy. If he walked into a mall somewhere, maybe up north, maybe even Atlanta, I think a lot of people think he's a football player or something. You know what I mean?
I mean, I think part of it he hasn't had. I think maybe with the competition, the better fights. Because I'm on YouTube now looking at just some of his past knockouts, and yeah, you're right. Dudes are just collapsing, getting shot. So it'd be nice to see him with get tested and maybe somebody take the blow and really see how good of a fighter he is, and maybe that might make him more popular. Because the way I'm seeing him get knocked out, he deserves to be popular.
I don't think that person exists that can take that shot. What it will be someone that can go 12 rounds and not just outbox him, which happened in the Fury fight, happened in the Ortiz fight, and they just avoid that shot for 12 rounds. And I think that's how you beat him in a decision, or maybe you can knock him out, maybe.
Nobody ever gets close enough to him to do it.
Well, Ortiz did it in the first one.
Yeah.
Ortiz had him dizzy. So
Right.
you saw that, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He
And
had him dizzy.
right. And I think another reason why he's not as popular and well known as he should be is, of course, the heavyweight division was down for so long, and then Mayweather just sucked up so much attention from boxing completely. And like most people, if Mayweather wasn't fighting, they didn't care who was fighting.
Yeah, Mayweather, he made $100 million off his last. Like, but did he get $100 off the Shane Mosley? I'm trying to think. Like, when did the money thing begin? Like the why he began so big? When did it begin? Where Mayweather became so big?
When I remember, it was the Ricky Hatton fight. What sticks out to me?
Okay.
Didn't he fight Oscar?
He did fight Oscar.
That was big. Yeah. And he fought. Did he fight Tito? He fought Tito. I know he fought the dude's I forgot his name. But
I'm trying to
I think it was after the Oscar fight though, because after the Oscar fight, that's when he started doing his own promotion.
That's what I'm.
Golden Boy did Oscar fight, and then after that, he was like, "Man, this is how you make the money."
Right.
That's what I'm saying.
This is how you make the money. So now I'm
he's been Floyd Mayweather, but when he became money, that's when it seems like it took on a different life.
Right.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And which was genius, because by that time, he lost a lot of power. Again, his hands had been broken so much, he wasn't really a knockout artist. So, to promote himself and to get people to watch him be a mostly defensive fighter. Most people that are defensive fighters, like Sugar Shane, it's boring to people. But people pour out money to watch Mayweather do it because he promoted the hell out of himself. He's a genius at that shit.
And this I don't understand what is so how do you do that? How do you be popular? Like that's a secret that he actually promoted this fight with a Bomb Squad. That's Deontay Wilder's production. We call it production company, whatever. Yeah. They did this fight. So him and Mayweather are together, but for some reason Mayweather has that thing, man, that star thing. And Deontay, I don't know.
Yeah, and like I say about all other sports, including boxing, is like Mayweather's not a big dude, so more people relate to him. Like we see dudes like Tyson and Wilder, even in basketball you see Shaq. That's why like centers are not usually like the superstars that like guards are, because people can relate to guards more. And we see bigger people as like this otherworldly thing that can't be achieved, but we can relate to Steph Curry, and people gravitate to him.
I actually watched the entire Tyson Lewis fight the other night, just from beginning to end, and just trying to understand. I'm trying to learn, like, how do these niggas do that? How did he sell? Because that was a bad fight. Tyson was like, he sold that shit.
I lost so much respect for Mike Tyson on that fight. It was crazy.
But I mean, I lost more respect for him when he bit Holyfield. I thought that was more of a sucker thing. He actually fought Lewis, though.
Definitely.
He did, but like Tyson had lost by that point, both of those fights. He lost so much of what made him great, and like just muscle memory.
That was just
repetition.
A money grab,
right?
Yeah, definitely.
And he had no head movement anymore. He's like, he wasn't. He couldn't bend at the knees like he used to, and he was just trying to knock everybody out with one punch. And if he didn't land it, he got punished.
I guess what I'm saying, he sold everybody a bad fight, and they kept coming back. Like after the Holyfield thing, that was how many years? When was that? Like 5 years. That was years later, man. And people kept coming.
But it's like we always think we're gonna see them great again. Like we'll tune in. People flock to see Michael Jordan with the Wizards. They knew it was the same, Mike. We just want to see it.
King, let me take back the thoughts I had about you. I need to take it back. I didn't share it, but when you said this dude was the Mike Tyson of our era, I did think, bullshit. But I'm watching these like knockouts, and it definitely reminds me, because I watched the Tyson fights. Like while they were happening, even his early fights on ESPN, I was like, he's from Brooklyn. I'm following this guy, and this is exactly what I'm remembering. Like him just knocking out people you never knew, you never heard of, but he's swinging with bad intentions.
Yeah.
And when he hits you,
that's it. I've never seen it's just because Teddy Atlas said he's the hardest puncher you. This Atlas is like an encyclopedia for boxing.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
For him to say something like that is what I'm confused.
I might agree with him.
What I'm confused at is just why more people. I guess Jay, you explaining it because he's so tall or something.
Yeah,
but it's
people we've gotten used to not paying attention to heavyweights. We automatically still assume that the heavyweights suck because Mayweather was everything. And people went away from boxing for so long because when back in the day, like when heavyweight division drove boxing, and when that went away, a lot of people went away with it. Wilder's how old? 32, 33?
That's my next thing. He's 34. He's 34.
Yeah.
And this is what I fear is going to happen when he begins. He said he's going to retire at 40, which if he fights 2 fights a year. He's 40. He'll be 52 wins, which beats Mayweather. So he'll be 52-0. But anyway, that's not my point. My point is, if people get on when he loses this power, that's gonna suck.
Yeah.
Then everybody's there. Then he's not able to live like that's gonna it almost be like Mayweather. Like everybody came to Mayweather. You just said it. Like he had lost his power. But then everybody was gravitating towards his fights, and they were kind of like hating him, but he was getting paid.
Right. Well, for whatever reason, they came. They kept coming. Right. Like the man sold a Conor McGregor fight, for goodness sake.
Even the fight before that, but with Pacquiao, that was like
right.
He suck at you, and then he suck at you again.
But everybody falls for it, and then what's going to happen with Wilder, you're right. He's going to reach the peak of his popularity right when it's time for him to retire or when his skills diminish. And then it's going to be some sucky champion who comes along and holds the belt forever like a Klitschko and just suck all the life out of the division again.
Back out of it. That's going to suck. I just really hope that. So what I'm anticipating is the fight this Saturday, which nobody probably even know the fuck going. It's a fight Saturday, which sucks. This is a good fight. After the fight Saturday, they're gonna start promoting the Wilder Fury again.
Right.
And they planned it right after the playoffs. They literally, I read all the articles. They saying this is after football's over.
Right.
March Madness doesn't start until March, so it's trying to get that sweet spot. Basketball really hasn't. NBA, hasn't heated up really yet. You know what I mean? It's right after the All-Star break, so they're trying to get that sweet spot, February 22nd.
Right.
So I really hope this is a big deal, but I just don't know.
I think it will be. We'll see. And either way, it should be a damn good fight.
Yeah, I'll be there. Right. I'm going to Vegas.
All right. So with that being said, do you have trivia ready for us, sir?
I do. I've been working on it the whole time, and now I'm finished. So,
all right. Well, what you got for us?
All right, so I got I got 3 categories. I'm gonna do this Jeopardy style. Okay. Dallas Cowboys, Pittsburgh Steelers, Chicago Bears. I spelled Bears wrong. Chicago Bears. Okay, got it. So 10, 20, 30. Jeopardy works. But I'll put a little twist on it. Above the Cowboys, I got Al. Above the Steelers, I got Jay. Above the Bears, I got Pooh. So if you pick your own category, you get 10, 20, 30. If you get someone else's category, it's double points.
Oh,
It's kind of like a history of these storied franchises.
Okay.
So I don't remember who won last week because I can't remember what happened yesterday. But
it's not me.
Okay. I'll start with Al. Names begin with A, so I'll go with Al. Okay. Al, where would you like to begin, sir?
It's Pittsburgh, Dallas, Chicago.
Correct.
10, 20, 30?
Correct.
Okay. Let me have some fun. So let me go Pittsburgh for 20.
Okay, so that'd be worth 40 points if you get it. Who are the top 4 all-time rushers for the Pittsburgh Steelers?
Oh shit.
Man.
Jerome Bettis.
Okay.
Franco Harris.
Okay.
Yeah, this one gets hard, huh?
One's going to surprise you.
Le'Veon.
Oh, got that one. I thought that would have been the one that tripped you up. Okay, yeah.
No, it's the fourth one that I'm not going to be able to remember.
He ain't got falls, I already know that.
No time limit.
Oh,
damn, word.
10, 20, 30. I mean, what I'm saying.
What are you doing? I was like, you count for 30?
Rocky Blyer. I don't know who the fourth one is.
Nah, it's wrong. Oh, and one thing I left off, but I got to do it to you. You get negative 40 points because it's a gamble. So, and the last name, sorry, Al. The last name was Willie Parker.
That's what I couldn't remember. Number 39. I couldn't remember his name.
Oh, wow. He had more than Barry Foster?
Yeah, that's Franco Harris, Jerome Bettis, Le'Veon Bell, Willie Parker.
Willie Parker.
I couldn't remember his name. I knew his number, couldn't remember his name.
All right. So next will be, I got Jay next.
Yeah.
Let me go Dallas Cowboys for 30.
Okay, so it's 60 points if you get it. There have been 5 coaches not named Jimmy Johnson and Tom Landry to win playoff games. Name them.
Not named Jimmy Johnson and who? Tom Landry?
Tom Landry to win playoff games for the Dallas Cowboys. Name them.
Ooh, Jason Garrett.
Okay.
Barry Switzer.
Okay.
What was the dude's name? Bill Parcells.
Yes.
And
2 more.
You can count 2 though.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6.
Chan Gailey.
Yes, 4.
And 3. Wade Phillips.
You got it. You right at the buzzer. I give
wow.
You stopped counting at 2 and went.
you heard that too, huh?
Yeah, I heard.
I would have got that anyway.
60 points.
He on that money stuff, man.
Go ahead, man. Every time I win, Pooh got something to say.
Hey, you know how we do.
All right, Pooh, you up next.
Let me get the Bears for 30, man.
Okay, this is only worth 30 because you're all the Bears.
Right. No doubt.
So Mike Ditka has more playoff wins than the 6 coaches that came after him combined. Name them.
Woo.
Name the coaches that won playoff games after him.
That won playoff games.
Yeah, he has more wins though than all of them combined. But name the ones that won.
I can't remember. Coach that's Lovey Smith.
Okay.
Lovey, who else had the Lovey? Coaches. Shit, I can't think.
Let me get that countdown.
I gave a little second.
Boy, I
3,
can't even see it.
2,
9,
Go ahead.
8, 7, 6,
Lovey.
5,
That ball didn't do nothing. Y'all can't
3,
think.
2, 1. You out, Pooh. Sorry. And it is.
Dave One Step.
Yeah,
that bomb out of pit.
Oh, I forgot one step.
It's damn, I gotta switch put the time clock on me. So it's Matt Nagy. Lovey Smith, Matt Nagy.
I completely
John
forgot about
Fox.
Matt.
Lovey Smith. Dick Geron. Dave Wannstedt. That's it.
John Fox ain't win no playoff game? Wow.
No.
It was like one. We won one game.
So Pooh's at negative 30.
No,
right.
I thought it was.
No. Negative 30. Yeah, that's right. 10, 20, 30.
I thought if I tried to grab someone else's points, it was negative.
No, you negative if you get the wrong answer.
True that.
All right. So next is gonna be Al.
I'm at negative 40, huh?
You're at negative 40.
Let me get Chicago for 20.
Okay. Name 3 Bears out of the top 7 with the most All-Pro selections. Just name 3.
Walter Payton.
Okay.
Michael Singletary.
Yes.
And
countdown.
Please.
Damn. Hold on. Damn.
8, 7, 6, 5, 4.
Buckets?
Yes. Yes, I'll give you that now. Thick
Okay.
bucket. That's kind of should have been a layup, and you got it. So you were at 0 now because that's
Yeah, thank you.
So it's
bucket.
he said Dick Buck. He said buckets.
Oh, I thought he said bucket. Like
No.
Jimmy Buckets.
Buckets.
Bill George, Mike Singletary, Bulldog Turner, Danny Funk. No, he's not in the top 7.
No, I'm just throwing that.
Yeah, Danny Fortman, Walter Payton, and Dick Buckets, Gale Sayers. So, all right.
Okay.
Galen.
How many Gale had?
I don't have the number, sir. I said he was top 7.
Probably. Right.
He was in the top 7.
Wow.
So, so this will be Jay up next.
Let me get Steelers for 10.
Yeah. Name the coaches since 1960.
Oh, shit. You gonna tell me how many there are?
Nah, it should be layup because they only change coaches every 50 years, seem like. So,
Okay, go ahead and start counting.
Shit. Chuck Noll, Bill Cowher, Mike Tomlin, and shit.
Not gonna start counting.
I'm just gonna keep going 10, 20.
Go to counting up.
10, 9,
Is that 10?
7, 6.
We should have
5.
started
What's the
at
dude's
5.
name?
2.
You stopped counting again.
Sorry. Now, so that's negative 10. So
Hold up, you didn't get the 0.
Well, it doesn't matter. You wasn't gonna name 2. It's
it's 2 of them. Shit,
it's
I
2
wasn't
of
getting
them,
2.
and it's Mike Tomlin, Bill Cowher, Chuck Noll, Bill
John
Austin,
McNally.
and Mike Nixon.
Mike Nixon. I ain't never heard of that dude. Okay, yeah, I wasn't getting that shit.
1960. So
That was the
it goes
10.
back.
Jeez.
Yeah. So what is this?
Yeah,
Next
you might have got it, Jay. He was gonna give you to next week to come up with the answer.
Right.
That was a 10-pointer though.
Yeah, I thought that was a layup, but I know my history. But anyway,
Ain't no way you knew
Pooh.
Mike Nixon.
No way.
Yeah, I never heard of him. I said for like Falcon history. If we only had like 5 coaches in 1960, I think I would know. Maybe not. I don't know. Anyway, Pooh, you up next.
Man, what's out there, man? I'm negative 30. I got Al already hit the Bears for the 20. What's left out there? Somebody for 30.
You got
Al 30.
Bears for 10. You got Cowboys for 10 and 20, and the Steelers for 30.
Steelers for 30 out there?
Yep.
Let me take a stab at it.
Okay. This quarter.
Wait. Damn, it's going to put me negative 30 if I don't get it in.
Yeah, I was playing for the
Negative
60.
60.
Right.
Yeah.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Negative 30 is what I already had. Hey, no guts, no glory. Let's go.
Yeah, this quarterback is 3rd all time in passing at 13,328 yards, 70 touchdowns. Who is he?
His name is Countdown, please.
I want to say Terry, but I got to say it's Ben, right?
No, Pooh. This is Cordell Stewart.
Cordell Stewart is 13 in the NFL history.
No.
History.
It's a Steelers history.
I'm bugging.
Yeah. Ben is number 1 for like 60,000, 59,000 something. Terry's 2, and then Cordell is 3.
I bugged out, man. I was thinking about NFL.
No. So at the end of the second round, Pooh's at -60. Al's at 0.
He ain't
Jay's
at
at 50.
Ain't he at -90?
Who? Nah.
Wasn't that
You're
just a
right. You're right.
-60?
You're right. I'm sorry, Al.
Bolivia.
I'm sorry, Al. Pooh's at -90. I'm sorry.
Thank you.
What type of witchcraft is this, man?
Hey, we got little kids. We got folks listening that need to be better at math, man. We can't be modeling bad math.
My apologies. You are correct. So,
What kind of formula is this, man?
like, Pooh's pretty much out.
You going the wrong way. You're going the wrong way.
Pooh gonna have to pick like Indianapolis Colts history for like 50 to win.
At the end of the second round, we got Cowboys for 10 and 20, and Bears for 10. Who would you like? This is Pooh went.
I'll take 20. Give me 20.
20 for Cowboys.
Yeah.
All right. Rank these players in scoring for the Cowboys. Michael Irvin, Terrell Owens, Jason Witten, Dez Bryant.
Interesting question. Scoring.
Yeah.
So I would go.
And the fifth one is countdown, please.
Give me Jason.
I'm going
Jason, Michael, Dez, Terrell.
Wrong. It's Dez 1, Jason 2, Michael 3, Terrell Owens 4. So that's negative.
I knew Michael was like third or fourth because he had like 3 years. He only had one touchdown.
Yeah, he didn't do a lot. He didn't score a lot of touchdowns.
So I had Dez and Jason.
You had Jason 1.
Right, and Dez 2.
Yeah.
Or I have Michael. Okay, either way it was wrong.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So next is Al. No, next is Jay.
So what's left?
Got 10 for Cowboys and 10 for the Bears.
Let me get 10 for the Cowboys.
Okay. Emmitt Smith is the Cowboys' all-time leading rusher. Who are the next two?
Ooh, Tony Dorsett and
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5,
shit,
4,
man.
2, 1.
DeMarco Murray?
No, that's wrong. It's a guy I never heard of. Don Perkins.
Don Perkins. Wow. I thought it was going to be Dwayne Thomas. But okay.
The dude that started the restaurant. Perkins. I know that dude.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
All right. I never heard of him tonight.
Nah, me neither.
Sam Perkins' uncle.
Are you serious?
Nah, big.
Oh,
they called him. Yeah, they called him Old Smooth.
We got number 10 for the Bears, and it says Mitchell Trubisky is already number 8 in passing all time. Name at least 4 of the quarterbacks ahead of him.
Wow.
I mean, just talk about the Bears now.
True.
For the chance to get to negative 80.
Let me get what's the guy's name? Jim McMahon, right? Let me get Sid Lupman. Let me get Jay Cutler.
One more, you got it.
And
10,
Jim,
9, 8, 7, 6, 5.
Dang, I gotta say, I don't know, man. Rex Grossman?
So it's Jake is negative 10, so you finished with it negative 100. Maybe I could have made these questions easier. My bad. It's Jay Cutler, Sid Luckman, Jim Harbaugh, Jim McMahon, Eric Kramer, Billy Wade, Ed Brown.
Wow.
Billy Kramer.
I don't know those last two.
Yeah.
Shit, I thought Rex or Kyle Grossman, Kyle, what was his name? Kyle Orton?
Kyle Orton. Yeah, Kyle Orton. I thought Rex was up there.
Yeah.
But
or Brian Greasy.
Right? It was
more than Trubisky.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So that was trivia. We're all done.
So,
Jay,
That was
the
a good
winner
one.
is Jay.
I like that.
Yeah, that was a good one. That was a good one.
Mm-hmm.
So Mitchell has thrown for more than Regis Grossman?
Yeah, he's number 8 all time in Cowboys history. I'm sorry, Bears history. Yeah, I'm tripping.
Wow.
That shows y'all haven't had much quarterback success, I guess.
No, we haven't.
Sure haven't. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, shit. That's a good one. I like that one, Keyonne. You host it. What's your parting shot? What you got for me?
Parting shot, real quick. I remember. So I went home this weekend, and it was this kid. Let me tell all the way back. When I was like 12 or 13 years old, we was at the house playing video games with one of my homeboys, and my mom walked in, and she fussed at me for not cleaning up my room, and she said, she told my friend that he had to leave, and he left, and then she asked me what the guy's name was, and I didn't know his name, and she was like, "Don't you ever bring the boy in his house again? You don't know his name, you don't know nothing about him." So I went home this weekend, and I'm in Walmart. It's like, "Yo, what's up, Keyonne? Yo, what's up, man? You know, how you been? Everything? Oh, it's cool. And I've been knowing this guy for like 30 years. We done went out and everything. But after he walked away, man, I swear to God, I still don't know this nigga's name.
Still don't know his name.
Like, I don't know who he kin to. I don't know nothing. Wow. I just know we have mutual friends. But that is just like those weirdest fucking things popped in my head. But
I bet you can take him back to your mama house.
I would invite him to my house now because he's actually a very cool guy. He's a cool guy, but I just don't know his name. And but shout out to my man, you know. Yeah, that's my man.
You are
right. That guy. Oh yeah. Man. All right, Al, what you got for me, man?
You know, I ain't got much. Have a good week. I don't have no parting shot this week, so. Enjoyed the show, enjoyed the trivia, and look forward to this every week. And let's go Cowboys Thursday night, and see y'all next week.
All right.
All right. Pooh, what's good?
Man, you know, we out. I'm out next week. The family's going on a Disney cruise, so you know we heading out Tuesday night, early Wednesday morning. So I'm gonna be out on the show. So my parting shout to the fam, man. Let's get ready to have a good time.
All right,
no doubt, man. Y'all have fun. Be safe.
No doubt.
Yeah, I ain't got nothing crazy, man. I'm gonna step out of character for a second. I want to congratulate Carmelo Anthony.
Yeah, I'm watching.
For you know, of course, he was recently signed with the Portland Trail Blazers, and he was named NBA Player of the Week for the Western Conference. So congrats to Carmelo. You know, of course, when it matters, he ain't going to show up. But congrats anyway for this shit.
I literally got the game on right now. He went 2 for 9 tonight, though.
Oh, of course. See?
Yeah.
That's the Melo we know and love.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, that's it. Great show, guys. Pooh, we're going to mix you next week, but enjoy your cruise, man.
Word
I implore you not to think about work. Don't think about us. Go enjoy yourself, man.
All right.
No doubt. Appreciate it.
No doubt. Well, good show, guys. We will talk to y'all again next week. And this is episode 135 of the Defy Life Podcast. We'll talk to you. We are having a show next week. Yeah, we'll talk to y'all next week. Absolutely.
Defy Life.
Until then, Defy Life.
Defy Life.
Defy Life.
Are you into comics? I mean, seriously into all things comics? Well, lucky you needs to check out Take a Knee for Marvel vs. DC, where Regular Scott, Ozzy Killmonger, and V's discuss characters, movies, series, books, fan polls, and more. And you never know who may show up for an open mic. Just some blurs going deep and having fun. Take a Knee for Marvel vs. DC. New episode every Sunday. Brought to you by the Defy Life Podcast Network.